Hi, hope you're doing well. It's your girl Jennifer, and this is Against All Odds. Welcome, and let's have this exciting conversation. Have you ever asked yourself sometimes why life is unfair? Do you even sometimes find life to be unfair? Do you? So, I have had times where I felt life was unfair. I think it's a common feeling for people, but is life really unfair? So, many years ago, I was in primary school. I went to boarding school when I was very young. I'd say young, yes. So I went to the first boarding school, then I moved from that boarding school. I went to another boarding school. So when I went to this boarding school, I found this friend of mine. In that year, at that time, when I moved to the next boarding school, I was in class 7. Class 7, you're about 13 years, I think. Yeah, 13 years of age. So yeah, I went to that school. When I went to that school, I met this girl. I was a city girl, and she wasn't a city girl, but they used to live in the village, but we had a very good connection. So, had a very good connection, ended up being very best of friends. So, this girl, we used to call her Rumuki. That was her, like she had combined her first name, middle name, and last name. So we called her Rumuki. This is it's one of the very personal stories that it just brings these fond memories, and also like some sadness, some joy, like very many mixed feelings. Yeah, so we met with Rumuki. We were very good friends. And what made us friends, by the way, is not because we met and connected. It is a fight that me and her had. And after we had this fight, like, I told her something that really, really wounded her. And because it was like, you know how you can be friends, you're trying to become friends, then somebody does something that annoys you and frustrates you, and you know when you're in primary school and in school, the only way to settle a score is like to revenge. And for me those days, I was very verbal. So if I would tell you something that would not settle very well. So I remember I told her something that did settle very well. I don't talk about it here because I remember it, but for the sake of this conversation, that is irrelevant for now. But that is what brought us together and ended up making us very close. So we go through our primary school as best of friends. We had a very good connection. So after primary school, we went to high school. We went to different high schools. So when we went to different high schools, the high school where she went to and the high school I went to, they were in the same locality. So she could board a public transport and then come to the main city, then walk down to my school. So when I was, when we went, because we knew which school both of us had gone to, and her school was a mixed school, and her school was like, to be able like to get permission to go out of the school was easy, unlike in my school. So when we went to high school, for me, the environment was very cold, so I started becoming very sick when I was in high school. So when I was in high school and I would get sick, I would be admitted in a hospital that was near where Rumuki's school was. And I never know, because we didn't have phones at that time. We didn't have, the only way to send messages was either through letters or through word of mouth. If you see a student of another school and you have a friend in that school, you either write a note and they take it, or you send her a word of mouth message. So anytime I would fall sick, I do not know how Rumuki would end up getting to know. So yes, there are sometimes I'd get a chance to tell somebody and somebody would let her know, or she would hear it, because once somebody in our school has been admitted, the whole school gets to know. So I would be in hospital, and who do I see coming to visit me? Rumuki. And she would come to visit me during visiting hours. Like, thinking about this makes me want to cry, because I have been sick many times. I know hospitals in and out, like many hospitals, international hospitals, local hospitals. And that feeling you get when somebody visits you. Today, if you have people who ever get sick, or just know that visit in hospital, I know it's good, people like to visit people when they come from hospital and go home, but that visit at the hospital is very important for the person who is sick. Especially if that is how people want it. There are others who might push you away, especially depending on where they are in their mind. But genuinely, most people in their vulnerable times, they want people to be with them. So Rumuki would visit me. But what would interest me so much and would touch me so much is that she would come when she has written a letter to me, and she would come and visit me with food items. In hospitals, you're given the hospital food, but sometimes you do not like the hospital food, so you prefer something else. So she would just buy things, and she would buy it out of her pocket money, and she would come and visit me with fruits, with things. And if I would be in hospital for like a week, Rumuki would at least visit me 2 or 3 times when I'm in that hospital. So I want to show you how our friendship was so tight. And this happened for the years I was in that school, because I don't think I missed a term I wouldn't be admitted in hospital. So it continued like that. Now, one thing that happened that was about Rumuki, they were born, most of her and her siblings were born in the US. Then they came back to Kenya and grew up in Kenya. So sometimes Rumuki would tell me, me, I'm a US citizen. And I'm thinking, bluff it. I should tell me when I finish school, I'll go back to the US. And then she'd write me, when now I'm not in the hospital and I'm in school, she'd send me a letter and she'd say, hi Jennifer, you know what? For me now, she used to call me Jason. Yes, there's that name I use. Yeah. So she used to call me Jason. She'd write to me and say, Jason. That's a nickname she gave me when we were in primary school. So she'd tell me, Jason, hey, when I leave and I go to the US, I will invite you to come and visit me. I will make sure you come to the US. I will make sure you come to the US. And I think it's a joke, I used to have letters where she would tell me that. And I think she started giving me that dream of going to the US, like when we were in high school. So fast forward, we finish. This love is getting stronger. We are good friends to each other. Our parents know each other, So it was such a good friendship. Immediately after high school, true to Rumuki's words, they relocated back to the US. And then, for that time, we used to have a landline where we used to live. So Rumuki would call me. And Rumuki would call me to reinforce that message of, Jennifer, I want you to come to the US. And now, so that for her to put that psyche in me and that desire for me to really work and go to the US, she told me, I will never send you money when you're in Kenya. But the minute you land in the US, the first pocket money you'll ever have will be from me. Oh, that gave me that, like, it aroused my desire to want to go to the US. Everybody in my family knew that I will go to the US one day and meet Rumuki. That time she was, I think, in Idaho State, or yeah, but she was in the US. She was doing well, like, because she's young, she had a job, she had started a life. My brothers at that time were in the US, so they would communicate with her, and they would tell me, yes, Rumuki really wants you here. Rumuki really wants you here. So, you've heard before, I've told my story of how I wanted to go to the US and ended up being conned. So, amidst even all that thing, the greatest desire was for me to go to the US and meet my friend Rumuki and continue this friendship, at least in a place where now we are able to be even closer and closer to each other. And when that desire and ambition for me to go to the US, at that time, after some time, she started dating. She ended up being in this relationship and got a child. I think she got 2 children. And we are age mates, you know. And then one day, we are always talking. And one day, communication goes quiet for some time. And then when you dig around to find out what's happening, because this is so unlike her, and boom, Rumuki is unwell. Rumuki is unwell. And within that period of time, she's getting treatment. She was in and out of hospital. And it was so bad. And you know, like, sometimes I remember she would, like, when she's well and out of hospital, would talk and, like, just pray for me. Things are going to get well. But within a very short time, she had leukemia. But within a very short time, I remember asking my brothers, could you please go and visit Rumuki so that you give me, like, first-hand information of how she's doing? But unfortunately, when they went, she had gotten to be so sick and was taken to hospital. And my friend went into a coma. And sadly, she passed away. When life is unfair, to be very honest, I talk about mental health and I'm very passionate about it. But there are things we struggle with. Up to today, from my own personal experience, I have never gotten over. I know I'll never get over her death. I always feel the day I go to the US, I've never been to the US yet, who will give me that pocket money that I long to go to the US for? This friend, she was there in my vulnerable times, but I was never there for her in a vulnerable time, like physically, other than just getting to catch up on phone and everything. And that's when you get to a place and you lose somebody and you feel like life is unfair. Because that's when you ask, why do the good ones go? Why is it the good ones? This girl had a heart of gold. Because you can imagine, in my years, in the 90s, when we were in high school, we didn't have a lot of money. But this girl, just knowing that she would come, Rumuki would come even on our visiting days. I've told you her school, they were very flexible to give people permission. Then she ended up being a prefect. Rumuki would come and visit me even on visiting days. When my parents are coming, she's there. And she will come when she has bought me something. I don't know. This is a friend that I can't shake off my mind. Her kindness, who she was and who the angel she flew to become. So life sometimes can feel unfair. But I think life would have been more unfair to her if she would have continued to suffer in her sickness. That's the only consolation I have. Why did I do this today? It's just wanting to help you understand. You could have those questions. You could have things that you've not gotten over. And you're saying life is unfair. But just like I try to do, I try to look at the brighter side of life. Would I want Rumuki to be here and struggling? No. So, whatever you're going through, it could be challenging, it could be painful, it could be heartbreaking, it could be traumatizing. But amidst that pain and that moment of wondering why life is this unfair, just try and look at the brighter side. And it's going to help you carry on, be strong, and be a better you. To change the world, you need to change your mind. It's against all odds. I'm your girl Jennifer. Catch you in the next video. Bye.